Ma'am, I appreciate your call. Look, I've had scores of medical doctors here on this show, so this is not my opinion. The German news, mainline, respected news publications are reporting live cancer viruses in this flu shot. The internal CDC report leaked over a month ago, this is the Centers for Disease Control, said they believe it's going to cause neurological disorders like Guillain-Barré. Okay? That's on record. They always admit that even the best vaccines have adverse reactions. Now they're lying with this PR campaign launched by Reuters, who one of the top guys at Reuters is involved with some of the big vaccine companies, saying there's no such thing as a bad vaccine reaction. No one who dies or gets sick after taking this got it from the shot. It's impossible. Now, when somebody preemptively practices medicine without ever seeing you and says the shot didn't do this, the shot didn't do this, you know they're covering up. Here's an example. There have been hundreds of deaths in the trials and then lately now with the Gardasil shot. They admit it in the insert that the drug company Merck puts out. They admit that it doesn't protect you from human papillomavirus, and that actually when you have that virus, it cuts down on other types of cancers by 50%. Yes. When you have the common papilloma virus and have an infection, which it's the same kind of virus, stepping on a nail, folks, most the public has it. There's estimates of high as 90%. Okay? I mean, I stepped on a nail when I was a kid, and I've been to the doctor, and I've pulled it out with pliers myself, and it always comes back in the bottom, because I stepped right through a nail in a construction site, not listening to Mama. She said, don't go play on that construction site, but I went and played on it and stepped right through a nail that was in a board. And I get a wart that goes up in my foot, and you know what? People that have dogs have lower cancer rates, live on average 5 years longer. Why? You get more flora, more bacteria. They've done stuff. You know what? It's very complex. The point here is that when you have those warts, when you have that papilloma virus, and there's thousands of them, different variants, many forms of cancer that are viral, that natural virus gives you a buffer to the more deadly types. You ever heard of kids that were always clean and kept too clean, never allowed to play outside, are sick their whole lives? My dad had a black nanny. He loved as much as his grandma. And she told my grandmother, she said, because my dad was getting sick a lot when he was little, until he was about 2, she said, Mrs. Jones, you're not letting David play in the dirt and get all the stuff he needs. That's why he's sick. And she would sneak him off and let him get dirty playing outside, and even gave him some chicken manure tea called Hindu tea. Wasn't sick anymore after that. That old black woman knew a lot more than these jackass doctors who were nothing but corporate salesmen to set a precedent to force vaccines into the public. And that's what this is big vaccine makers have admitted lately, we're going to switch away from drugs now, and some drugs actually are good, pharmaceuticals into vaccines, because we can just force the government, pay the government off to make you take it. And here's the Sunday Express. Jab as deadly as the cancer. Top doctor says the Gardasil killing people. Dr. Diane Harper, going to get her on. Fewer face lockout for failing to get vaccination. They're making kids take all the shots, the new flu shots, to get into school. There's no law. It's criminal. The illusion. Oh, boy. Somebody's got to rant and rave about what's happening. New York healthcare workers, Illinois healthcare workers, nurses are revolting. The majority of them are saying they're not taking the shot. But see, they have a captive audience in the public schools. Obama gets up and lies and says there's no law. You're not going to have to take the shots. And then the public schools say, it's on our list as a policy. We want you to take it. Then they kick you out of school for a violation of policy, not law, not telling you that parents in all 50 states went and got laws passed that they can't kick you out for not taking shots. They're committing crimes, not telling you about the vaccine waiver form, because they're a bunch of local boss hogs. Even if you believe it's great to get the flu shot, you better Google, study Studies show flu shots double Alzheimer's. 3 flu shots. It's kind of like wearing headphones with blasting music. I've worn headphones for 14 years on the radio. I now have a ring in my ears all the time. I've gone to a little earpiece and have it way down. Like Rush Limbaugh, I might go deaf, folks. Well, it's the same thing. You take those flu shots. That's why you're so stupid. They're full of mercury. In fact, I printed off the insert for the current flu shot that says it has mercury in it. But the moron public, they'll tell you at these drugstores it doesn't have mercury. Ask for the insert and read it. It says mercury. One epidemiologist explained it to me this way. You know how a bee sting makes around 5% of the population go into shock and swell up and can't breathe? I'd been stung by bees many times in my life. But one time I had a swarm of them because I was doing some gardening at my parents' when I was in high school, chased me out of a tree they were in, and I got stung probably 15 times or so. And I swole up red and had trouble breathing and put a bunch of baking soda on myself and got in a hot bath trying to soak it out. But most people would have gone to the hospital. Well, it's the same. And I always laughed at people that were scared of bees until that point. Now I developed an allergic response to them. Now I'm a little more concerned about them. Because let me tell you, it wasn't fun crawling around on the floor having trouble breathing. But my phobia of the hospital was bigger than that of not being able to breathe. But the issue is, maybe only 5% of people get violently ill when they get stung by a bee. Well, you talk about the population that gets a baby whose immune system isn't ready. And they admit now they shoot babies up routinely. They even have a syndrome. When they're born, they suddenly can't nurse. They go into shock. It brain damages them. You take a big old shot, probably 1,000 times the fluid that's in a bee sting, full of all sorts of RNA and DNA from the monkey tissue or the fetal tissue they grew it on, and cancer viruses they admit are in almost all vaccines, and you shoot that in. I mean, a big old shot into a baby. And you do it over and over and over again. Of course you're going to have autoimmune responses and allergic responses. And of course the brain's going to swell up. If you've had a pre-existing health problem, the smallpox shots kill you. Causes an autoimmune response in the heart.